Hello, ladies and gentlemen. A new season is upon us, Richard. It's been interesting times at every single club except Varazin, who's had like minimum of minimums in the transfer window. They're just this guy left, we bring in a replacement. Boršić left, Rakovic. Zelenika's gonna leave. We have Silic. No, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, we promised because we are doing the preview that things will be less boring than Varazin's summer.
No,
They'll be as interesting as Varazin's first leg against
yes,
Jablonec.
and as interesting as OCX preseason.
Well, come on.
Well, hopefully more on the happy side.
Yes.
Hopefully we don't fire anybody for for posting a result of a friendly. Well, threatened. Well, warning before sacking, but before that, we should probably get to the big news of Slaven Bilić, who's been reappointed as everybody speculated correctly. It looks like it was done before the World Cup.
Yeah. Um, I think possibly the only surprise is that Dalic hasn't already turned up somewhere yet.
Yeah,
Um,
just enjoying us all day.
yeah, yeah, fair play. Well, I say he's deserved it. He's an international manager. He gets far more breaks than most people do in their job.
Yeah,
Um, so get to work, you lazy so and so. Um, but
maybe he's trying to negotiate a bigger deal for himself, a few more 100K.
yeah, well, get you back while you can.
Yeah. But yeah, Bilic is back. The longest serving manager after Bilic, after Dalic. Sorry, I'm trying to. I need to like rewire my brain already. I'm starting to say Bilic more and more. Uh, but I made so many slip ups. I did a podcast with Creation Sports. We talked about it, and I just kept saying Dalic instead of Bilic. I was like, oh, my brain still needs to rewire after what 9 years of just Dalic, 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 Dalic.
Well, this is why Scotland have been quite good in that we've not bothered appointing anyone to replace Steve Clarke yet. So we've all got
Yeah,
a good month to get him out of our system before swearing about someone else.
yeah. But yeah, Bilic is back. So previously led, obviously, the national team from 2006 to 2012. Those Euros were his last tournament. Uh, I mean, that first tenure have was very unlucky in multiple aspects and just heartbreaking. So, well, first of all, first tournament we qualify easily. We knock out England from qualifying for a big tournament, which is absolutely massive. And we were playing some very good football back then. Obviously, to beat England, we had a bit of help by a Mole and Maximir, which always helps out, as it did to Istra this past season at their stadium. But yeah, we knock out England. Euros sweep the group with the hosts Germany, and then the infamous Turkey, 2008. The less
Mhm.
said about that, the better. 2010, we don't qualify for the World Cup. Obviously, that's after Eduardo's leg break. Luka Modric was injured for a few matches, and he was pretty much instrumental when Bilic came in, and he was just got put straight back, put straight into the starting lineup as soon as Bilic went in, because obviously Bilic was the under 21s manager before stepping up. So yeah, and then Euro 2012 drawing the group with Spain and Italy, who in the end made the final, which
Yeah.
tells you enough about. And we got robbed for a penalty in against Spain. So oh well, we're used to it.
Yeah, it's hard. It was sort of at the point where you still can't really draw any conclusions because there's not a squad to talk about yet. You're really
Yeah,
just purely talking about the person, and we know everything about the person already. It's not a massive mystery as to how he likes to play, as to how he likes to get on with people.
yeah,
Yeah, it's wait and see. I mean, we'll know at the end of August as to what we'll get with the first squad. I think we will certainly see quite a bit of change. I think Segatic is pretty nailed on to be
yeah,
in the squad at the very least, but there will be a couple of others as well. It is time to move on from a few players, obviously one of which will be Modric in October. But
yeah.
yeah, uh, It is weird because obviously we all knew it was happening. We talked about it plenty before it did happen, and sort of until he gives us a reason to go on about him again, it's kind of like it's a little bit like we've run out of words, which is
Yeah,
really good 5 minutes in. Um,
yeah. So we can focus on the high now. But before,
yeah,
obviously, the one thing about Bilic that I like more than Dalic has been, just through these 9 years. Bilic immediately came in first TV appearance after again becoming manager on national television. I want to win a medal. I'm not coming here to get out of the group. I'm here to try and win the medal to get another big achievement, which is, you know, refreshing. I like it's not bad to be realistic, but if you want to do, more results, more big results, it's preferable you have some manager who's going to be like, we deserve to be here.
yeah,
So coming straight in and immediately being like, I'm aiming for a medal at the Euros. So at least a semi. Obviously, no third place in the Euros. Just the aim is probably just top four and being amongst the best.
yeah, and that's a very fair aim to have. There's no I don't think anyone's got any doubt Croatia would be one of the top eight sides in Europe in 2028. There will be on FIFA World Ranking, quite aside from anything else, but
Yeah,
just from a qualitative perspective, um, like you say, if you're in that last eight, then you're into the point where that's when your big match experience pulls you through, which of course, we know there's plenty of that around the Croatian squad, and we know, when you're at that point, like I say, getting to the semis is all that really matters. I mean, I know
yeah,
it was a game that wasn't really paid much attention of in England in terms of the third place playoff, but at the end of the day, the aim for every side going into the World Cup isn't necessarily to win the World Cup, it's to get to that final weekend. Because
yeah,
if you get to the final weekend, you're in the discussion.
yeah,
And that's as much as you can possibly hope for. Uh, and whether you play a ridiculously terrible game on the Sunday or whether you play a game that's so much like basketball, it's barely football on the Saturday, it doesn't really matter because if you're in that last four, that's the achievement.
yeah. It's the achievement is making the semis and being
Mm,
in for that final again. Obviously, we still haven't won a knockout game at the Euros, which is hopefully gets broken soon. Because come on, guys,
yeah,
how do we have three medals at the World Cup and no wins in the knockouts of the Euros? But yeah, it's the Euros have been very unlucky for us. But hopefully, Bilic can change that around after two heartbreaks in his two Euro appearances. Only two tournaments really, because 2010
mm,
World Cup. But let's not dwell on the past. He's here more mature, as he said himself. So and he again has a younger generation, more of a younger generation again. It's more of the main part of the national team again. So it's gonna be nice, I think, because the younger players definitely respect him, and the older ones that are still there, who are gonna still being there, like Kramaric, Perisic, Modric. For obviously reports are that he's retiring against Spain. That this next international break is gonna be his last match against Spain. Gonna be his farewell at Poljud. The tickets are for that are gonna probably be scooped up in 2 seconds. But
they can probably ask World Cup prices.
oh, I hope not. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But we still have to wait for Lucas' final word because Bilic has held talks with him, and he has said publicly and to him that he wants to keep him around, especially if he's gonna play another season, which he is. He's extended his contract with Milan for another season, so Bilic is asking him if he can do one more season with Milan, just be around the national team again for another season.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be starting, he just needs to be
Yeah, just to be there.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. So that's pretty much it. Before we go into the Hnl specifically, we've had a few games. Hajduk has obviously beat Žilina. Jesus Christ, barely. Uh, if some of you missed it, Jesus Christ, you missed. So first leg, Hajduk absolutely dominates. Should have been 5-6-0 easily. Obviously, it's Hajduk, so converting their chances is not. It's not a thing they're a fan of. especially Shego. He needs to get his shooting boots on hopefully soon, because the amount of chances he's been in, and he's so far not scored a goal. But thankfully, Gilina second leg started. It was just meh. And then at the end of the first half, Van Horenbeck jumps highest, scores a goal, 3-0, and you think this is it. Hajduk has
Mhm.
won an away game for the first time since Renova in 2020. Nope. Žilina comes back, scores one, scores the second after a very unlucky own goal, but a pure Hajduk. And then 93rd minute, Žilina crosses in a ball, and there's striker just all alone at like 11 meters outside. Thankfully, sends his header wide, and Hajduk is through. But I I just keep aging. I Hajduk just keeps scraping gears off of my life and more and adding more stress. I really thought I was I saw everything with Topol with Zira. I really thought I saw everything. Nope. But yeah, as Bernard Jurisic, a journalist from Croatia, said, Hajduk has lost to worse sides. So even if we did lose, it would have been like, we lost to them before.
Mhm.
And then Hajduk after that faces Pafos, last season's Champions League side, who just didn't get into the top 24 for that knockout playoff match, and absolutely runs them off the field. I think it's fair to say 2-0. Very much. Probably, I said it. Hajduk's best European game since Vitoria Guimaraes in 2022 under Dombrovskis.
Yeah, and I mean, see, in general, it's good for the coefficient. I think it's particularly
Yeah,
good to be taking the points from Cyprus.
yeah.
Um,
Who are 15th? Right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, obviously we know Croatia aren't in the hunt for 15th this season, but the more you can do to bring that bar down, and bring yourselves up at the same time, the better.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, like you say, quite aside from that, it's a big scalp. Um, I mean, it possibly doesn't feel like it, but like you say, the performances in the Champions League last season,
No,
um, you wouldn't have expected them really to trip up against Hajduk, and it looks like they're going to. Famous last words.
there's still tomorrow, and
Yes.
2-0 leads. We already saw Žilina, so if we almost bottle it against Žilina, I'm not confident ahead of Pafos, but that performance definitely did. Same as Žilina, first leg at home, absolutely random off the field. Sad news is Roko Brajkovic is out for the entire season already. Tore everything possible in his knee, which is the worst thing to happen, and it's sadly become a normal thing among young players in Croatia. Kacavenda, Matkovic more recently 2 times,
Mhm.
and now Brajkovic. I'm probably missing somebody.
Well, I mean, in general, it's something
Yeah,
that's on the rise in terms of not necessarily to the point of basically blowing up your knee entirely, which is obviously what Brajkovic has done, but in terms of just that sort of knee injury,
yeah,
you see, I mean, there's a lot of investment that goes into looking at it in the women's game, because for whatever reason, female players appear to be more susceptible to that sort of injury than in the male game. But whether that's a style of play thing, whether that's a genetic thing, I don't know. But I think it's probably fair to say they feel very much like they're on the rise
yeah,
in the men's game as well. Certainly in terms of the volume of season-ending injuries. I mean, obviously, it's horrible for him, but at the same time, it's forced Hajduk's hand in terms of. I don't think it's completely over the line yet. Sort of check, is it? But
yeah,
you know that would be an upgrade on Brajkovic. From what we've seen, sort of check at Lokomotiva and a bit of what we've seen of him at Basel. Um, but that's actually now forcing their hand to say, okay, actually, he's out for the season. We need to go and get this guy who would have improved us anyway. Um,
yeah, yeah. Šotićek. So let's quickly go over his mad transfer window so far. Was essentially meant to go on a plane from Switzerland to Poland to sign with Vijay Lodge. doesn't board the plane. Rijeka
Hmm.
comes calling, and he's like, "Oh, going back to the Hnl." And then obviously, as you said, Brajkovic injures his knee. Robert Graf immediately rings him, and he's like, Hajduk, we have a good chance of playing Europe, maybe if you join
Hmm.
us in the third qualifying. We're missing a winger. Obviously, he's left. He's a left winger, but we have other options that can play on the right. Left winger. I mean, Melniak is great, but he's not a winger. Although his sense for goal is something that cannot be taught.
Hmm.
That goal against Paphos was a perfect example, and a return to his old days before his. I think he also did his ACL
Yeah.
or something with his knee. Yeah. Another example. So before that injury, obviously Melniak was pretty regularly scoring for Hajduk, especially in the cup. We all remember that first cup winning season for Hajduk,
Hmm.
where he scored in the semi-final and then in the final the goal to take the lead. So yeah, it's something that cannot be taught. But he's not a natural left winger. He's supposed to be a left back, and obviously I would prefer to have Shoticek instead of Melniak on left wing, and we just need options. Because what's the alternative to Melniak? Adam Huram, who is doing okay, but he's still very young.
Yeah. So yeah, it's forced Hajduk's hand in getting that particular deal sorted. I mean, I can't even remember what's the third qualifying round draw. It's not bad, is it?
Salzburg,
Oh yeah,
RB
that
Salzburg.
was so. That is probably the one thing that goes unfortunately in Hajduk's debit is that not only see yeah, RB Salzburg will be Hajduk. That'd be a big surprise if you turned them over.
Yeah,
But then how the seedings work, it would put Hajduk on the unseeded in the Conference League playoff.
yeah. Because, I mean, we would
Whereas
have been unseated anyways, whether we lost this or not.
you would have been seeded if you lost this. So Paphos are seeded.
Well, yeah,
Paphos, if
because they've lost and they're going to be seeded now because
yes,
of
so they're taking the whoever the Conference League one is.
yeah,
It's one of those where all I'm trying to say is it's one of those where you're almost being penalised a little bit for winning this tie.
yeah, pretty much. But if we win it,
Yes, if we win it, yes.
it's an if still. But yeah, it's also very shocking to me that the playoff draw for the Conference League looks tougher than the one for the Europa League.
Yeah.
Which because the amount of teams that are seeded in the Conference League, the amount of good teams, uh, and then you got and even you are seeded, you have Getafe who's not seeded, I think. So if somebody draws them, that's like, yikes. Rijeka has a very small chance of getting seeded, but they need, I think, 2 out of 4. Realistically, they have like 4 results that could go
Yeah, I think,
in their way. But yeah, and Dinamo will play Kauno Žalgiris, who just beat. So Željko Sopic is coming back to Croatia already.
and having watched Kauno against Trita, there weren't much. Dinamo
Yeah,
should not
they
have any
barely
trouble with
beat
that
them.
at all.
They barely beat them. But I mean, we saw Tun. We'll get to Tun.
Yeah,
We'll get to Tun. But yeah, to shortly cover Hajduk. I mean, the worst thing is Salzburg. Obviously, that draw for the third qualifying round of the Europa League was hell. You had Benfica, Maccabi Tel Aviv, Besiktas, Salzburg, obviously, which you got, and somebody else. I forgot now, but anybody you draw, you're not the favorite there.
mhm,
There was no easy draw, and I saw some Hajduk fans saying, "Oh, this is the easiest draw for us." Like, it's still tough, but it's the easiest. I'm like, does that matter?
yeah,
It's RB Salzburg. It's a team that constantly plays in Europe. They haven't missed Europe, I think, since 2013,
yeah,
and we haven't played in Europe since 2010.
yeah. And I mean, if we're honest, in terms of Salzburg, they're almost they're in the wrong competition. If that's what makes sense, they're a
Yeah,
Champions
yeah.
League side. Obviously deservedly didn't win the title over last season.
No.
Not just because I worked for them, but there was they didn't have it up front. They didn't have it in a few positions really. So I mean, Haddock would have a chance. Everyone's got a chance. They just don't have a very good one. Like you say, it probably is the easiest of the draws that they could have got.
Yeah,
It's just not an easy
that yeah,
draw.
just stupid. But yeah, either way, if Hajduk do lose, I forgot who's. I've already thrown the conference league out of my peripheral vision.
Topol Kostanay?
No, we could have got them, but no. I think it's Ludogorets. I'm not sure though. Jesus Christ, I cannot remember how I wrote that tweet because I'm trying to search it up. But when we beat Papos, I already just threw that out of my
Yeah.
peripheral vision. Uh, Not like that. I see. Oh yeah, Žalgiris, not Kauno, obviously, and
Oh,
Dinamo Tbilisi.
it was someone further east. I knew that. Not quite as far east as I thought.
Yeah. Let me see how the first leg went.
The first
Oh,
leg,
Dinamo
Dynamo,
beat them 3-0. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's most likely Dinamo if we do lose. But yeah. So yeah, for if Buffos do lose, they're gonna be seeded because they're gonna take their coefficient in that tie.
Mhm.
Yeah. So either way, we would have been unseeded in the playoff, which is yeah. I mean, we have to fix our coefficient, and we at one point we need to beat somebody that's better than us, which we're currently doing, but we got to do it one more time.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Conference League playoff draw is going to be very tough. But we obviously still need to wait for all the legs, the third legs to be played, and then obviously the third qualifying round to have that sorted. But yeah, it's a tough road ahead for Hajduk. But there's hope. If Hajduk can play like this at home and then scrape a result away, I think it's totally fine to think of a possible league stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let's get to a team that hasn't missed a league stage or group stage in the last 9 years, Dinamo Zagreb, who've confirmed their spot and at least the Conference League. Hopefully, won't be playing in the Conference League. Hopefully, we don't do a Poland. But yeah, they beat Thun after extra time last night. First leg ended 1-1. Horrifying first half, and even in that horrifying defensive performance in the first half, Bello and Vidovic still had chances, which I don't know what Bello was doing in his chance. Awful attempt. But second leg, it was interesting, to say the least. Obviously, Thun starts the game getting the lead, scoring another from a beautifully taken cross from a free kick, and then a beautiful header that Filipovic couldn't do anything about because it looked right over him perfectly. And it begs the question why Dinamo still hasn't done anything about the goalkeeper position. I understand they're looking for Livakovic, but it's dragging on so long that it looks like you won't have him for at least a week or two.
Yeah, which they'll get away with in the next round.
Yeah,
They won't get away with it in the playoff, but they'll get away with it in the next round.
they're playing Kauno Žalgiris, who is very much an underdog, but they
Yeah.
do have Sopic, so if he can motivate them, but still that team doesn't have much quality. I mean, they've signed some Croatian players, which aren't, which weren't even good at Hnl level.
Mhm.
So it's a Lithuanian side. It's a miracle they even got this far. I think it's their first time in European competitions, like in qualifying or
Yeah.
at least Champions League qualifying.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
is.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I mean, I think probably just also to add on to that, it's also, I think, if you watch Toon,
yeah,
they are a very set piece heavy side.
yeah, they're very physical,
Yeah.
and it showed. They have two strikers, very physical. They just loop the ball up to them and then win second balls, and
Yeah.
that's literally their tactic. And because they're physical and have very good wingers, they can do that,
Hmm.
and they executed their plan perfectly until red card, which for some reason they complained about. But it was I can understand their complaint because it wasn't straightforward at goal. It was from
Mhm.
the side of the box, but still, there was nobody in front of him for 5 meters. So it was a free run to goal and a free goal scoring chance. But yeah, got a straight red after a VAR review. Uh, Cameras didn't work at the match; only one worked. So we all had for until like the second half of extra time, I think. We didn't have scoreboard, just one camera. That's all we had. Something went wrong, obviously, and the commentators didn't do a good job. As I said to you before we started recording,
Mhm.
it was Gordon Schillefeld as a co-commentator who was Jesus Christ. But hey, they're trying. They got rights to the match, so props to them. They tried. But yeah, I saw that on Swiss TV because obviously they had the same uh, they had to rely on us for
Yeah.
the match recording. Somebody drew a graphic really quickly and kept it at the top of the screen, like right at the middle, I think. So it was at least they did something. RTL didn't do anything graphic wise, or even try to keep us informed of what the minute is. But yeah, then Dinamo obviously after the red card immediately started piling on 2 goals back to back. Bello Cacciavenda sends us to extra time, and then Valicic with an absolute thunderbolt to win the game.
Yeah, and I mean it was an excellent winner.
Yeah,
I think it's not just that it's absolute thunder bastard. It's also that he sprinted with it at feet for 50 yards before
yeah.
unleashing said thunder bastard. Um, so it's one of those where it could have been an absolute disgrace of a night, and it's a
Almost
brilliant
was.
night instead.
It almost was. Thun had a chance in the first half of the extra time. They had a chance. They actually got through on the defense.
Mhm.
So they shot just wide. It was a tongue in cheek moment.
Yeah, and it's obviously it's not acceptable for Dino, but I think as you said it there, part of the reason for that is the goalkeeping situation isn't sorted, and I get it. Obviously they want to wait for Livakovic, but you can only wait so long,
Yeah, and you have
and
good options. You have Schemper who's looking for a move out. Horkash, obviously linked with Celtic. From but it's very differing. In Scottish media, it's like not we're not even thinking about him. In Spain, it's like they're they're talking to him. But so and he also has interest from elsewhere. And then we also have Zelenica, who's still looking for a club. So he's not even playing for Varsgen anymore. He's just training with the squad, and Šafarić has made it clear that he's on the transfer list. He's free to leave. So it's going to be interesting to see because he's obviously every summer for the last like 3 years he's been linked with a move away.
yeah, it's let's say they just need to pick someone up. I mean, like I say, they've been fortunate in obviously getting Callum Zagiris,
Yeah,
but they need this. This isn't. They can't. You've mentioned like they can't do a Celtic and decide right. Okay, we're going to hold off. We're going to hold off. Hold off, and wait until the Champions
nope.
League money's in because we know the playoff um, is difficult. There's no way, no two ways around it. There isn't an easy side in there. Obviously, a lot of people have mentioned that Dinamo having gotten through means that AEK will be an unseeded side.
Yeah,
So, it might be, it's
okay.
it might be Athens. That's obviously we certainly hope not. It's obviously Dinamo's history against Greek sides of late
We
has not
remember the
been.
last time they played AK, so
Yeah, we don't want to mention that again, really. Um, but even then, I mean, with the unseeded sides, the chances are it might be going to Kairat Almaty.
yeah.
You don't want to be going to Kazakhstan in the middle of in between
Yeah,
two
and they have
group games.
experience now. They won't be even scared at all. They'll be like
Yeah,
we deserve to be here.
yeah, and then you've got I think there's Lask also entering in that round. That's again
Yeah,
they won the Austrian title absolutely on merit. They will be a very difficult side to beat. And then obviously whoever comes through the remainder of the third qualifying round as an
Yeah,
unseeded side. There's a lot of nasty surprises in that draw. I think it's fair to say,
yeah,
and absolutely no one is happy that AEK are in there.
yeah, absolutely. Because that it's not even close to. They don't deserve to be there. That's fair to say. But yeah, enough about Dinamo. Let's quickly cover Varaždin. You said it. Chaotic match.
Mhm.
Very similar to Tun, Jablonec in the way they play. Very set piece heavy, and we saw that with 2 goals from set pieces. And yeah, but open play beats set piece if you're really the better side. And Varaždin, Sanyuga, Jesus Christ, 2 perfect goals, 2 perfect assists
Mm.
for Mamut and Tavares. And yeah, it's and then we obviously had Maglica to Mamic for the winner and for an absolute beldom at the stadium. But yeah, a very good match. Very once again, just Varaždin showing that they can absolutely play in Europe.
Yeah, and for getting a Czech side, from a league which is, I think it was fair to say, it's probably similar standard. Obviously they've got the benefit here that Jablonec are here because Carpina got
Yeah,
excluded because of match fixing, I want to say.
yeah, match
But
fixing.
so they've been handed a slightly easier draw than they
Credits.
could have.
Yeah, they had credits Kralove before.
Yeah. So I think they should be getting through this time. Obviously, probably a little. It's very much up in the air going into the second leg. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, it's about giving good nights, isn't it? And so they did it last season. With really credible performances in Europe. They're doing it again this time around,
Yeah,
and that's all you can ask for. And I think their I can't remember their third round. I'm testing you. I'm imagining you've got this up in front of you now.
I don't. I wasn't expecting us to talk about it this much. But oh yeah, Vestri or RFS.
Yeah, so
That's a
that's
good draw.
doable. Yeah,
Yeah, if
that's a
you can
good
beat
draw.
Jablonec, you can beat them.
Yeah,
They
and
got really lucky. They could have faced some serious sides.
yeah, and I think obviously we may as well just jump straight onto them. Rijeka are obviously in a fairly similar situation. It's tie they should be getting through. A tie probably from the home leg. They've made the away leg a little bit harder than it needed to be.
Yeah, same with who was it? Shelbourne last season.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, really, it was Tony Crook beating Derry
Yeah,
rather than
and defending
Rijeka.
against them
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. But again, they get through. Their third round tie is
Stjarnan
pretty.
or Ilves from Finland.
Again,
So that's
it should be.
you should be easily doable.
Yeah.
So it's dare I say realistic to have all sides in a playoff. Obviously, Dinamo's secure now, but
Mhm.
all three of the Hajduk, Varaždin, and Rijeka should absolutely. Varaždin obviously less so, but every Rijeka and Hajduk should be getting to a playoff, which Hajduk is guaranteed to have if they do beat Pafos tomorrow on
Yeah.
aggregate.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, Rijeka made a meal out of it against Derry. Didn't put chances away. Derry had 1, 2 good chances. Obviously, one was stopped by Fruk. But that's it. The others were just not used by Rijeka. Lasitskas had a fantastic chance right at the end. Didn't put it away. Yeah, it's just Tony Fruk, as you said.
Yeah. But I think it's also just a side playing their first competitive game of the season.
Yeah, same as Dinamo. It's you're starting your season. Uh, it's always going to be tough legs. Some players are going to get tired more easily, but they're going to progress hopefully. And if you progress, you're gonna be better because at that point you're going to have a Hnl match behind you,
Mhm.
which starts obviously this weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're going to
That's
be
a good
more fit.
segue. Good link.
Good link. So yeah, Hnl preview. Let's start with the newcomers. Rudesh. Hopefully they do better than last time. Hopefully we don't have to wait. How much did we wait for their win last time?
March?
Yeah, I think March. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, Latkovic scored the winner, right? If I
yes,
remember
because I
correctly.
think that they had a couple of close. It was always against Goris that they had close run
They could,
things,
yeah, yeah.
and then they actually got off 0 points.
My favorite Hnl moment from that season is Latkovic scoring the winner, and then like not even 3 seconds after, you see Matej Markovic, the captain, the goalkeeper,
Yeah.
celebrating with the fans on the other side where the goal was scored. How did you get there so fast, my guy? But yeah, they've just today they've signed 3 more players, which is very reminiscent of Vukovar last season. Because what happened to 50% of Vukovar squad last season, I don't think anybody know. I don't think the players themselves know. Because they brought in like 30 players last season, and I don't think I ever saw 15 of them play.
No.
So yeah, it's been a it's been a transfer window for so Jakub Lagajic today announced Toni Kolega, Marko Stolnik, Diego Živolic, Filipe Sursio, Josip Pejic, Ante Sušak, and Stjepan Plazonja.
Yeah.
It's none of these names except Stolnik and Kolega are maybe Blagaic, if some Hajduk fans remember him, or if you watched the Bosnian Premier League a few seasons back, you'll remember that name. The others, not really. Except Sushak actually from Mostar, but it's
Yeah. I mean, even then, it's guys taking a step up.
yeah,
I Yeah, we obviously mentioned this before we started, in terms of how we were both looking at Osijek this season.
yeah,
Um, and we've said it before on here in terms of about how we don't think this is a Ruda side that'll stay up. This isn't a promoted side that'll stay up. We're probably waiting for Kostosha to go up till that
yeah,
happens. I think this is a season where if there had been a good team coming up, Osijek would be screwed.
yeah.
Um,
It will be very hard, at least at the start of the season.
yeah, Ruders aren't they aren't good enough,
No,
unfortunately. We said the same about Vukovar last season, and I think they ran it closer than most people thought they would. So I think certainly
yeah,
closer than we thought they would as well. But the difference is, and you've indicated it there already, they signed a lot of players. They threw a lot at the wall for it to
yeah,
stick. And Gonzalez, Bilić, they rehabilitated a lot of players. They improved a lot of players, and there's guys on there who are coming back into the league this season who have found themselves in a better career situation because of last season. I don't see that happening. I don't see where the goals are. They're not the only side in the league this season where I don't see where the goals are. Um, but then, they just look like a 1.5 Hnl side. I
yeah,
think that's probably the best way to describe them.
yeah. True. It's obviously they sold Duje Korac like 2 days ago, I think, to RFS, who might
Mhm.
face Varaždin. And they sold Pavlicic for a good sum for them, like 250, 300K to Sigma Olomouc, who's been really interested in the high NL market this summer.
Yeah,
But yeah, other than that, it's they lost a few players on a free, but nobody really of note except maybe Roko Brajkovic, ex Šibenik player, ex winger. So yeah, it doesn't look like a good side. They have Poldrugac, who's probably the main name in attack, which says a lot.
mhm.
Like nothing
Yeah,
against him, he was good. He was good in there last time they were up, but he was good at the Druder side that was last by 10 million miles.
yeah. I think that's the names that you recognise are guys who, like you say, were with them last time,
Yeah,
who were at Varazin when they came up, who have been in and around Šibenik when they've been in
yeah,
HNL. They've been the guys who've been okay in bad sides.
yeah.
Um,
All by the way, all those sides relegated at one point in the near past.
yeah, so that probably says what you need to know about Rudez's chances. But I think at the same time there are other bad sides this year. There
Right.
is another. Should we just go on to them? There is another
Yeah, just
very
get
bad
to
side.
Osijek.
Let's just get on them because this is going to take a while. There is another very bad side in Osijek, and I think it's almost unfair to say that they're a very bad side, because we know there's talent in that squad.
Yeah.
We know that, but I don't. Aside from Rudez in 2018-19, I do not recall a side coming into a season in such disarray with such negative vibes and just in such a state. And Rudez in 2018 had three players on the books 3 weeks before the season
Yeah.
started, if you remember.
Yeah.
That was when Alaves pulled out.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I was reverting my mind because I still wasn't doing Croatia footy back then. That was the year before I started doing it.
all right,
I
we get it.
wasn't.
You're young.
I was 13 at the time. I was just watching Hajduk. Okay, I was just a depressed little kid going to school because Hajduk lost.
And I think the thing with us is, I know we've said it, I don't see where the goals come from in Rudas.
Yeah,
I do not see where the goals come from in Osijek, and that's a really bad thing to say when they have plenty of strikers. The problem with their plenty of strikers is that each and every single one of them is injured, and then the guys they brought in are
they brought in. I I
Balelo.
I I love. I saw the announcement video. I'm like, this guy's good. I saw I'm like, they made an announcement video for him, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I open up Transfermarkt, no value, plays in the like what the third tier in Portugal, fourth.
So we've had this discussion before. I've not mentioned this before. There was about maybe 4 years ago, I think. I was working with a club in the third tier of Portugal. It was run by this guy who's an agent. I think he sort of works in with Porto now. But he'd been linked up with this club, and he's like, we want to go to the Middle East, and just not the Middle East. We want to scout the Balkans a lot, and um, as a result, I ended up watching a lot of Portuguese third tier football, and yeah, I've mentioned it before. You sort of, when you're scouting the second tier of Dutch football, there is a very big gap between who's at the top of that division and who's
Yeah,
at the
and the
bottom.
bottom. Yeah,
Because if you're coming out the bottom, you're pretty much coming out of the amateur leagues almost.
yeah,
In Portugal, it's the same. You have a a few good sides at the top end of that third tier because there is a lot of talent in Portugal. There's a lot of talent goes through Portugal as well because of
yeah.
the Angola links, South America links, and so on and so forth. At the bottom end of it, it's crap. It's on bad pitches. It's on even artificial pitches. No one watches it, and that's where they've found this Balelo guy from. I probably have come across him. He was probably in my discarded draw. He feels like a signing that's from Jose Boto's discarded draw
Yeah, I
as
was
well.
about to say. I was about to say, how'd they even get to him? Because Portugal third tier. The new sporting director Zenville. I doubt he's thoroughly scouted the third league and has this name in the back pocket for years or for
Well,
months, however
it,
long.
it,
It has
it's
to be Boto.
it's come from Chelsea and Herenveen. I mean, there's no chance he's looked there. And
Yeah,
then
exactly.
the other guy they bring in is Armando Leon, who comes from Andorra.
Yeah,
And for me, him signing, that was the first time I knew there's a club called Rangers in Andorra. So
yeah,
automatically don't
same.
like them. Um, but there are a couple of Andorran sides, who people are familiar with. Generally they end with the words Descalade.
Yeah,
Um, I've never heard of these Rangers guy, and I get it. You've brought in Fede Bersoni, and he does know that market. I've not even mentioned Fede Bersoni yet. We'll get there in a second. But what is it about a guy who's coming from Andorra that suggests he's going to work in
the Hnl.
Croatia?
Yeah,
If this was Srinsky,
maybe. Yeah,
whether we're talking Bosnia or uh, lower league, then maybe you could say, okay, actually, I can sort of understand why you might have a go at
yeah.
this guy. But no, this is a proper side taking a go at him.
Well, hey, it
The,
cost them nothing,
it,
so
it costs them nothing. It might end up costing them quite a bit, but
yeah. For now, for now,
yeah,
for now.
for now it's cost them nothing. In terms of how they attacked last season, bear in mind we're saying we don't know where the goals come from. Obviously, their side performed terribly last season.
Yeah,
They their XG per game, I think it was 1.51. Their actual goals per game was 0.75.
Okay.
I have, so when you go through looking for these statistical outliers, generally, if you are performing over a season under zero point 0.3, but you're
It's a
under
very
your
bad.
XG,
Yeah.
it's very, 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 very bad, and you're generally in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And the 0.7, it's almost impossible. And then you bring in Fede Bassoni. Obviously, I watched him a lot at Olympia,
Yeah.
and you don't. I think he felt very harshly done by at Olympia. Um, and I think maybe there's about him and two other people who think that. I don't think it was, because at the end of the day, if we did a Slovenian podcast, you would have noticed Olympia aren't in Europe this season.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they're Olympia. They should be in Europe
Yeah.
because
Biggest
they're
club.
because yeah, exactly. It's it is the equivalent of Hajduk or Rijeka not qualifying for Europe. That's you, and you pay with your job for that. And okay, he say he came in an absolute state at Rijeka, Rijeka at Olympia, because they had Owen van der Looy, who is the worst manager I've ever seen in Slovenian football. Um, and the least convincing communicator I've ever seen as well. He just looked absolutely gormless and absolutely out of his depth, which, bearing in mind he had managed in the Eredivisie at Heracles,
Oh.
like, oh, okay, what's
Oh
going on
Jesus.
there? Um, but certainly didn't turn it around, and obviously they were knocked out of the cup. I think Brunier knocked them out of the cup, so knocked out of the cup by a second tier team. Bravo, you know, got ahead of them in the league and took the European spots.
Yeah.
You losing your city rival, you losing to the cup. Um, you don't really have anything else going for you this season. You also have a lot of players leaving at the end of the season. Everyone's went. It's only natural that the manager goes at the same point. He was not impressive there, and you can say obviously we've talked about when Vitor Sanchez came in at Rijeka, like, oh yeah, that's quite exciting. He's done really well at
Yeah.
Olympia, and at Rijeka he did
Oh yeah.
fine. He
Okay.
did
Yeah.
fine.
There,
No,
there were other reasons why that wasn't that good of a spell.
exactly. This guy's coming in from being fine at Olympia, and that's it.
Yeah.
Um, so that's a problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then that's before you get into everything else about the club.
Outside the club, off the
Yes.
pitch.
Yeah.
Just off the pitch. Well, Alexandroveg, the new president of Osijek, she's been in charge for a couple of months now, right? Ever since Orban kicked the boot. Uh, but yeah, she's been in charge and facing some pretty serious allegations. The Osijek headquarters essentially got swarmed. They jumped into that stadium and they took Weg and interviewed her for I think 6 hours. It was reported. So it's serious.
Hmm.
So for potential conflict of interest, I remember correctly.
It's two potential conflicts of interest. One is rolling in multiple companies. The other is rolling in a sports
Or
company
it's
while
agency.
also
Yeah.
owning an agency,
Yeah.
which, yeah. I mean, again, maybe people mention Kusashi again, because that feels interesting, but to be picking on one and not the other. But hey ho,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a problem. And I think obviously you mentioned Orban. Again, the money is drying up at that club
And it's very
because
obvious.
yes, and I think that's the other
Sportska,
thing to say. Everyone is for sale.
yeah, Sportska obviously reported that literally almost every first team player that you could think of at Osijek from last season that's still at the club and not injured
Mhm.
is pretty much just if a suitable offer arrives, they're accepting it.
Yeah,
Which not a good place to be.
it's not, and I would also question how many of those will get that much interest at this point in time,
Yeah.
because I think obviously a lot of it is loan players had took up a lot of that squad.
Yeah, last season, yeah.
I think there's 6 or 7.
And you also lost Barisic and some other player, I think, on a free.
Guedes,
Yeah.
And Kamel Ademi, but he doesn't count as a
Uh,
footballer. Um,
don't even mention him. Every single time, there's one specific clip from like France where like a guy is in the streets and they throw him the ball and he has the worst two touches I've ever seen in a lifetime in my short lifetime that I've
mhm.
had on this world, and takes two worst touches, and that's still better than a demi.
It's probably more touches than Ademi. Um, I mean, I think if you look at everyone else who's come in, obviously the most recent one's Heister from Istra.
Yeah,
Again, that's probably telling you a bit that Istra feel they could let him go. Um, in terms of possibly where he's coming into this season. At Dolchek, I mean, he had two or three very good games in Scotland,
yeah,
and then irritated
disappeared.
everyone. He,
Yeah,
he completely disappeared, and you sort of speak to people in the know. The impression was it was attitude,
no,
almost entirely. So,
Jesus Christ.
and that's not encouraging to be bringing in. And like you say, obviously they've tried to get rid of a lot of players. They've tried to get rid of a press officer for posting that a behind closed doors friendly
Friendly,
existed.
yeah, that they lost
Um,
4-0.
yeah,
Also, I don't know if you noticed. I think like their second to last friendly, they didn't post the result. They just posted the gallery of pictures online. No result. Like no result to be known. It was.
I've learned
By the
my
way,
lesson.
no. The game wasn't behind closed doors. The game was on TV. You could watch the game. They didn't post the result.
Yeah,
It was on live TV. You could have turned on the channel to check the result, but no, they didn't post the result because again they lost. So yeah, everything that could go badly has literally gone badly. They've also signed Vito Chaj, probably the best pickup, I would
yeah.
say. And I don't know if you said Mustafic from Sturm Graz.
I'd not said Mustovic, no. But I mean, obviously he's quite a way down the ranking because
Yeah,
Stuttgart have like a million fullbacks.
yeah,
Um, I mean, I think probably the best quote I've seen, I can't remember, it was someone in Sports University was interviewing an old last year player, and he sort of said, they can't be worse this season, but actually, when I look at it,
they
they
can.
look worse than
Yeah,
than
yeah,
last season. So it is hard to judge because statistically they cannot underperform to the extent that they did last season without it sorting itself out. That's just impossible.
yeah,
Um, but suspect that their underperformance from last season is closer to their actual performance this season than it is to them actually recovering something and being a good side. I think they're going
yeah,
down to that performance. I've sort of said, they start with Goretza and Rudez, both of them away.
yeah,
If they come out of that with 0 points,
yeah,
then that's answering a lot of questions this season.
yeah,
I don't think necessarily that they will. Obviously for the reasons we've mentioned about Rudez, but it's possible. It's hard to see something at that club has to break, whether it's the finances, the vibe, or they just the talent suddenly just goes gels together and they actually meet their potential.
yeah,
But there's a very, very, very few reasons to believe that anything good is going to happen in the imminent
yeah,
future.
yeah. I mean, who could be their star player? Omerovic, Vrbancic could pop up, but Bukvic. But it's all players that are very that can only be hard for so long. Wingers are always like that. You're never gonna have a winger who's the entire season on it, and if you do, then you're gonna be in the top tier
I think the answer as to who the most important player is going to be Melanica.
again.
Yeah.
Third season in a row. Jesus Christ. I mean, at this point, it's just sad that your best player is your goalkeeper for 3 seasons in a row. Oh yeah, by the way, how do you announce your Malenica's new contract? Did you see the video?
I don't think I did. No. Oh, is this the one
So
where
so
they
in the
indicate that he's
midst
going?
in the midst of all the drama, in the midst of all the bad news, Malenica, all black, so his silhouette talking. It's been fun, but things must come to an end. I've ended this contract and I've signed a new one. Why? I believe there are people. I For the first 5 seconds, I watched that and I almost went to Twitter and posted Malenica has left Osijek. I was on the very edge, and then he says I signed a new contract and pops up 2030, I think, I don't know, 2029, whatever he signed for. Uh, for the first 5 seconds, anybody that watched that video that was an Osijek fan could have just dropped their phone and be like, "Fuck this shit."
To be fair, I think they already had,
Yeah,
for other reasons.
but like of all the ways to announce a contract extension, a picture of him signing the contract, no. A picture of him with a jersey with with the year that he signed to, no. Anything else, literally anything else, no, no. A fake out of your best player for the last 3 seasons leaving. Well, faking that he's leaving, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
The fans were very upset. But yeah, also we didn't mention that they protested when they, as you said, almost fired 25. So he's been longer at the club, I think, than anybody other in the clubs. Miki, I forgot his name, Mikic or Mihic.
yeah.
Yeah, the spokesperson, the social media guy, the whole fan base just obviously was like, what are we doing? He didn't post a result. We lost. Get over it. It's football. It's a friendly.
Mhm.
It's not even that serious. And he got a warning before dismissal.
That just reminded me of something. I don't know if you've seen, because we've mentioned Olympia already. Olympia sacked Mito Bretro, and yesterday, and they came out and said it's unacceptable what we've seen in the last 4 games. Olympia have played 2 league games, so they're literally sacking him on the back of friendlies
Oh my
and
god.
admitting that.
And admitting
Um,
that, yeah.
which is just it's just Olympia.
Fantastic.
You can take Mandarich out of the club, but
but yeah, nothing to be positive about for Osijek,
no,
essentially.
say that they might be better than Rundest.
Yeah, maybe. I
Maybe.
don't know if that's a positive.
Well, it's not a positive, but I think come May it probably can be classed as one.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's
I
get
don't
to
think.
Slaven.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't. I think sort of for the next 3 clubs above them, because it seems we're going from bottom to top, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah.
It seems that the next. I think Istra, Goretz, and Savin are much of a muchness. I think there are reasons to doubt all of them. Specifically for Slaven, obviously they ended last season horrendously.
Yeah.
You can probably say, well, yeah, they sold their best player mid-season, and that's why. But still, they
You need
ended
to
the
do
season
you
horrendously.
still need to perform to, have, you're still playing.
Yeah, you are, and they're not they're not bad. They're not
They're good.
good. They're
The
just
signings are fine. It's nothing special. Sentic replaces Hadžikic. Orata comes in. Other than that, who else is worth? Banowets is worth a mention.
Adachin is worth mention as well.
Yeah,
So he was very good at Novi Pazar. Um, and Austria was just a level up, a level too far up for him. But probably this level will be
will be
about right
fine.
for him. I think they have plenty good. They do have quite a good attacking lineup on paper.
But yeah,
It's just not a very consistent one.
yeah, especially
Um,
in the last few years. If you had this lineup 3 years ago, you're top four, for challenging
yeah,
for top four.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the thing. Seven and sort of said is if you actually get everyone firing, then they can look top half, but there's no
The
evidence to
chances of
suggest they
that
will.
are,
And yeah, and you sort of indicated that they're not solid at the back. Centric is a good replacement for Hadzikic, but I'd still rather have Hadzikic about.
yeah. But yeah, he wanted to leave and
Yeah,
got his move.
and that's fair enough. I'm glad for him personally that he got his move. Obviously, after missing the World Cup,
Yeah,
for
due
getting
to injury.
injured in the friendly. Not even in the friendly, getting injured, warming up for his first
Yeah,
for his
for his
first.
first the cap.
Yeah. Um, I think that's sort of probably the key around Seven's success. They conceded a lot of goals last season. It was 61
Yeah,
that they conceded last term. Get that down to about 45, and you'd be doing much better. And
yeah,
I don't. The components are there to do that. Whether the components are there to do that and then also score the amount of goals you need to score to fire yourselves up the league, I'm not so sure. But yeah, I think compared to the last two sides we've talked about, definitely a tick above Rudez, no doubt about that.
yeah,
Compared to us, yeah, they're probably pretty similar, but not with the big mental handicap of the nonsense.
yeah. And just the mental toll of having two very bad seasons back to back before
Mhm.
for the players, for the majority of players that are still there.
Yeah, I think so. As was said, obviously they ended last season atrociously, and if they come into this season and they lose their first five, then at that point you need to make a coaching change.
Yeah,
But also it's kind of refreshing to see, they're going to still give them the chance um,
yeah,
to turn it around.
yeah. I like Orata. I like Banovets. I'm interested to see, as you said, Adesina and this Icelandic guy Johnson, Gauti Jonsson, how you
Mhm.
pronounce it. But yeah. Also, they signed Lovre Lonchar from Hajduk. Uh, from what I've seen him in the lower levels for Hajduk, he's fine. Interested to see if he can do anything at the step up, but I don't think he'll get that much playing time from off the bat at least. But yeah, I like Urata. That's definitely an upgrade on Yakir, who's not even a left back naturally.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's fine. They've improved on left back. They still have Trepulja. That's the main cog of the team. I think we can agree. Probably the player you don't want to lose. And then just going forward, as you said, just have somebody step up.
Yeah,
Anybody.
yeah, and that's it. If you turn one of those into a 15 goal season,
Yeah.
then that's you sort of really, and there is enough talent there to do that.
Yeah,
It's just
I mean, Mitrovic, Grgic, as we said, Strepulja, if Kamaikov plays, Adesina, whoever plays, they can definitely provide service up front.
Mhm. Yeah,
Pretty much it for Slaven.
yeah,
Not a lot to boast about. Gorica haven't done as much business. Obviously, lost Pershir, which is probably the biggest loss, and Iker Pozo. So the team is now looking for a new star.
yeah. I don't. I mean, like I say, it's taken out two big parts of the team. Pozo obviously had a very good season last season.
Yeah,
Pisir, you know, he was massively overdue a move. Um,
yeah,
it should have happened maybe three seasons ago.
yeah. He's
And
26 already.
yeah, I think it's probably fair to say his effectiveness declined
Yeah,
at Goretzka. But I think you taking out his more mental aspect in terms of this guy's been around forever and is a key part of the club, rather than necessarily his quality. Um, Otherwise, I think they've done all right. Um, yeah, Josipovic, obviously watched plenty of him as he originally came through at Bravo. Very good keeper.
hmm
Miec was absolutely fine at Hartberg and brilliant at Rogaska. He needs it creating for him. He's not the sort of
yeah,
person who's going to do it. He's the sort of person who might be an empty jersey for 80 minutes, but for 10, you know, he, 10 he'll be
oh, yeah.
extremely effective.
For two or three good balls, he's there.
Yeah, and that's more than Goretzka had.
Yeah,
So, I yeah, I don't necessarily think all of their business is good. I'm not really sure what they're doing with Ken and Carol.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah,
I
it,
mean,
it,
it's all free transfers. They haven't spent a penny. I think. Uh, Pretty much bringing in Cvjanovic, Kardum. Cvjanovic obviously didn't work out after leaving Gosijek.
mhm.
So if he can get to a similar level, it'll be fine. But yeah, mainly the midfield is can they even be close to last year's or the past few seasons for that matter?
Yeah, I suppose it's probably interesting in that respect that actually midfield's really the bit they've not touched so far this
Yeah,
window.
yeah,
Whether
they still
that's
the midfield is still the same. Kavel and still who Pavicic are gonna be the main two.
yeah, so whether that's something where they've missed out on a target or two, or they're waiting for someone to come available, I'm not sure, or
They're
maybe it's
waiting
just a
for
sign.
just end of the transfer window. All the teams are gonna sign like 3 players in the last 2 weeks, I guess.
Yeah. Or alternatively, it might just be a sign. Well, actually, we're going to focus on our wide areas, and
Could be.
we're bringing in Miech because we know he can. He's a poacher, and he's going
Yeah,
to need that service. So we're focusing on the service and becoming
yeah,
that sort of more efficient side. I I don't know. I mean, I think they probably are. Again, sort of as we said about Salim, they're a bit better than Rudez. They're
yeah,
similar to Osijek without the nonsense. They're probably a little bit better than Osijek, actually. I think they probably are a little bit better than Slaven. Um, but they're not that much different to last season.
yeah. They just need to keep the defense is all right. Last season, I think conceded just under 50 goals,
Mhm.
so it's fine. Nothing special. Just need, as you said, Meach to step up and somebody else from time to time. But yeah, it's a okay side.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I mean, I think, so we'll move on to Easter next. Of the sides that I think we're expecting to be in the lower regions, I think Easter are the ones who've lost the most.
Most, yeah.
I mean, obviously those losses are logical. Obviously Koski's gone
They've
to
made money.
Alaves.
They've made
Yeah,
money.
they've made money, and Koski was at 3 million. Lonchar to Indonesia for 300 grand.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoy your paycheck, mate.
So
Um,
it's gonna be big.
and Prevliak as well. Yeah, Prevliak was obviously the top scorer, but at the
Yeah,
same time, I don't think Prevliak was.
that good.
He didn't blow
Yeah,
anyone away. He took the chances. He had a couple of very good games, and scored penalties,
yeah,
which is I think probably fine when you're going to get a lot more service at Dinamo, but they've not brought much in.
yeah. They
And
brought in Sharonic and Dumbia, and obviously had returning players from their failed loans.
yeah, and obviously they are looking to change their strategy a little bit, rather than spending money and bringing people in, they're looking to ship people on and sort of bring through from the youth, which is fine. Obviously
Yeah,
Raul
they have
Kumar,
they have Skafar Juric who did okay this summer
yeah,
in
and
in the Euros.
and Raul Kumar, who is, there's a lot of clubs tracking him.
Yeah,
Um, so they've got enough to be there. I think, sort of the possible issue that they will have is going to be defensive. Obviously, you take Koski out, but also, in taking Koski out, you've had Maricic go reasonably recently as well.
yeah,
You're moving from a defense which is really good under pressure, really good with the
yeah,
ball at feet, into something where you don't necessarily have that talent base as much there. So they are
yeah,
going to have to change how they play a little bit, but I think that probably more pushes them back 2 seasons to we're going to sit and we're going to hit you on the break and we're going to be runny little quick boys and really annoying to play against.
yeah,
But when we have our good days, whew,
yeah. New manager, Javier Cabello
yes, who's
hasn't
been
hasn't really been a main manager. Had one long stint at Cultural Leonesa, and that's back in 2014, 2015.
yeah, he's been. I think this was the one. I can't remember what the name, like Citra or something like that in Spain before that as well. But like I say, he's mainly been second in command at Alaves
Deportivos, yeah.
and FC Dallas as well. I'm always a bit wary when you see someone with such a long assistant managing stint because usually you're an assistant manager for a reason. It has a very
Yeah,
different skill set than being the main man.
yeah, obviously.
And the question there lies is were you an assistant because you're a really good assistant, or were you an assistant because you're only a really good assistant?
Yeah,
The
he's
the
lacking
Dwight
in
Schrute
some
problem.
department. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's probably lacking in some department, but can he cover that? Maybe with somebody in the staff or not? We'll see. But yeah, not much to go off. Essentially,
yeah,
not much to go off. We can't say how he's gonna play because he's never been the main man. We don't know what his ideas are. Yeah, but the attack. I mean, you have Bangura. I predict will probably take the starting point now in striker, along maybe or Yaganets.
yeah. I think they've been using Yayats
Yeah, I think they're
a bit.
using him more. So
Um, he wasn't again. He wasn't massively impressive on loan, but
yeah,
I mean, I think Easter are more built around what he's good at. So yeah, I think I'm okay with that.
yeah,
Um, again, as you say, they're a bit worse than last season. I think they were a bit disappointing last season in general, but I think that's more we all had high expectations for them rather than they
yeah.
were
And
actually
they
bad.
also and as you said, they also lost their entire center back partnership
Mhm.
in one fell swoop. But yeah, it's they have young players that are gonna step up from time to time, and you have some. I'm interested to see Sharanic if he can provide anything close to what he did at Sesveste last season. Sesvete, sorry,
Mhm.
for some reason lost my Croatian there. I swear I speak it regularly. But yeah, I'm interested to see if he can provide anything. If he can, he's a player of quality. He definitely has the quality to do so. It's not even a question. It's only consistently.
Yeah, he's been getting practice really for
Yeah,
him, which is yeah, I think last season really was the first time he got um, that just
yeah.
consistent game time.
And if you saw some of his highlights last season for Sesvete, Jesus Christ, what a player!
Mhm.
So I'm hoping for a few nice bangers. But yeah, midfield wise, they're sorted. I don't think there's the midfield wise and winger wise. Like you have now Sharanic, you have Frederiksen, you have Rosic, you have Gorichan. That's you can sell one of those, and you'll be all right. Which they probably will, I'm guessing. But yeah, midfield is sorted. Defense is, as you said, fine. Yeah, they have Kumar, and then whoever they pair alongside them is okay. So it's and Kolic has turned out to be a pretty good shot stopper. So yeah, they're above. They're definitely above. For me, they're above everybody that we mentioned previously.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've slightly. I'm trying to remember what I put in my prediction. I think I had them lower than Saturday and Goretza, but I think
Well,
that's
yeah,
more just
we
the
can
impact of the defense. But
yeah.
yeah, we can embarrass me in May about that.
Uh, we'll see.
Yeah,
I I still haven't locked my predictions set in stone, so I'll do that when we get to the end. But yeah, let's move to the next team, Lokomotiva. Done a fair bit of business.
yeah, I like a lot of what they've done.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I think we know what their issues were last season, and they have recruited to fix those issues.
yeah,
Um, obviously bringing back Miko March, he wasn't great at Rijeka last time, but
yeah,
you know, if he's been the centre man and playing week in week out, well, actually, you know, that'll probably be fine. And this Lokomotiva side are certainly built for him more than that Rijeka side were.
yeah,
Um, no doubt about that. They were weaker at the back, so they brought in Trian Tafilu, whose name I've probably butchered,
yeah,
but again, it's sort of showing you've recognised the issues, you've brought in things to rectify it.
yeah,
On top of that, you also have a lot of players who should get better because this is Lokomotiva and they always have a bunch of young players who get better.
yeah. They've also sold Stojakovic to Dinamo,
Hmm.
who's joined them despite being injured. So Dinamo's gonna wait for him, which is totally fine. They've lost also Daicher and Kardum and a lot of players on loan. Well, not on loan, on free. Sorry. I lost Leovac, Kollinger, Sigali, who didn't play much. Subaric also hasn't been the main goalkeeper for the past season. So yeah, not huge losses, especially when, as you said, they brought in replacements, and I would argue that, well, Maric definitely suits it more than Stojakovic did.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of gone from having a very mobile, very annoying striker to someone who's a bit more static but a bit more clinical.
Yeah,
And
which
that's,
is what they need.
yeah, that's what they were missing. You say it quite a few times last season. That was generally for a lot of the season all they were missing.
Yeah,
If you can get, uh, obviously as it was at the start of last season, it was Grivak, Stojakovic, and
Vukovic.
Vukovic. If you get Vukovic scoring, actually taking one of the many chances he creates,
Yeah,
again, that's probably the difference between them and Varazine. I think they have a chance of catching Varazine this season, and they are 100% better than the sides we've spoken about before.
yeah,
Um, there are, I've sort of mentioned, Feta Fatai coming back. That's a really
yeah,
good midfield reinforcement for them. You obviously got uh, plenty in the centre of midfield. Left back, they're really well stocked at. They're really well stocked at right back. They're really well stocked. I mean, again, it's Lokomotiva because of sort of how they promote size. They do carry a very big squad anyway,
yeah,
but obviously that a lot of that squad are guys who are sort of there to learn. Um, but again, it's Lokomotiva. They will have someone we've never heard of who will come through this season and be
yeah.
very good.
Because
We
one
not
position is gonna have like two injuries, and they have no other choice other than bring somebody for the U Franks.
Yeah, and let's be honest, we hadn't really heard of Stojakovic this time last year.
No, we didn't. So yeah, it's and they also brought Dominic Taki on loan from Rijeka, also worth mentioning.
Mm.
He'll probably get a lot of playing time off the bench, and then if he impresses, probably from the starting lineup. Also brought in Dardan Morina from Ducagini, so
Yeah,
your area of expertise.
yeah. I mean, and again, it's a good get. I mean, Lokomotiva are always, a side who, if I know they're following someone, I'll tend to then follow someone
Yeah,
from that perspective because I know they're very good at scouting, Kosovo and Albania, so you know they tend to have good homework to copy.
yeah,
So, and to be honest, that's a lot of what I do in scouting is just plagiarism. But anyway, um, and he obviously done very well to bring a smaller side through. Sort of similar to Baruti. Obviously
yeah,
Hulk has brought through. It's sort of that level of quality, and if you if he turns out well and kicks on, then that's a very good get and someone they'll sell on for a decent amount in 18 months, which again is the point of the club.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a good side, as you said. I'm amazed at how stacked at left back they are. You have Pajac, Kamerovic, and third guy,
Ustubicic.
yeah, which is perfectly fine for this level. I mean, better than most sides have at left back.
It is, yeah. I mean, look, Kamenich went to Lazio for 5.5 million.
Yeah, yeah,
That-
and Pajac is a must get if you're playing Hnl Fantasy because
yeah.
he's on everything, every set piece. Uh, so yeah, should we get to the no longer reigning champions?
Yes. Yes.
Matias Kek is back.
Yeah. I've not seen many pictures of him with his cap on yet, though, so which is kind of disappointing.
Yeah,
Given that their entire announcement was just based around he has a cap. But yeah, uh, I mean, we've seen one competitive game of them so far, and it's a competitive game that weren't necessarily massively convincing in. I think it's better that Victor Sanchez was a little harshly done by, but also if you bring in Manchester back, then there's
yeah, it's fair.
that then fair enough. The big job obviously will be replace Tony Fruck when he goes, and it is a when. And
Hopefully, it's been
it,
3 years.
I mean, it will be.
Yeah,
It's just how much they get for him now. I mean, I think the fees have seen are pushing 10 million.
yeah, they're
Um,
trying to push it as offers come in, as more clubs are interested.
yeah. So and there's the potential. Obviously, he goes to hell. Sorry, Hull. Um, uh, bringing the bad British humour in there. Um, So that's the big question to sort, and it's a question particularly pressing. As we mentioned when we talked about the Derek Gamey, obviously he scored and he tracked back 90 yards to prevent a goal,
Yeah,
which is that's more impressive than scoring in most people's books, quite rightly. There's other things for them to fix as well. Obviously
yeah.
the goalkeeping, with Limisic gone to
Karabag.
Azerbaijan.
Yeah,
Yeah, to Azerbaijan. But otherwise, he's coming, I think, at quite a nice time. A lot of what Sanchez brought in has been able to get quite settled, and has already come on a bit in terms of like J and players like that. There will be a more solid unit because that's what Keck does. And if anyone knows how to build a Rijeka side that challenges for a title,
yeah. It's him.
yeah,
But yeah, they've signed Trubelic, which I like. That's nice little signing. You've
mhm,
lost Endokit. You brought back Jankovic. Then Slovan Bratislava essentially just said, "Have him,
yeah,
have him." We're not interested in exercising our option to buy. Brought in Marek Kostapec, young goalkeeper who played for the under 21s. Played
Pujic,
for the under 21s. Pulic are back, which they need a striker that's going to score. Daniel Duce is fine, but not consistently.
yeah, but he's 23, so
Yeah,
what do you think? I think it's testament
Pulic,
to how well
Pulic is
prepared
nice
he's
to
been.
have. Pulic is nice to have as a backup if something happens to Adua J or if he's just not in form.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, he's proved to be good at this level, and he's gonna have better service at Rijeka than at Vukovar. So and then Moreno Živkovic, if he's gonna play, that there's absolutely resale value. Although Dinamo are gonna have a big chunk of that,
mhm,
but still, he's come on a free. Dinamo only looked for a percentage of this next sale, and that's it.
yeah.
So
It's,
yeah,
they're waiting to sell. They're waiting for that big fee, and then at that point, then you get your keeper, you get your probably a centre back, to replace Brdelic fully,
yeah.
um, and then someone to try and replace Fruk. Now, unfortunately, you probably need three players to replace what he does, but you
Moneyball.
know,
We got to recreate him in the aggregate,
yeah, exactly.
which is gonna be very tough. But listen, if anybody's gonna have this next era after Fruk, like this next Riega squad after Fruk, if anybody's gonna do a good job, you want Kick.
Yeah, and having Yankovic back is a big salve to Fruk potentially going.
Yeah. Well, we have to see how we do because this past season he hasn't played a lot, and
Mhm.
when he has played, he's not been good
Yeah.
for Slovan Bratislava, from what I've heard and been told about. But yeah, should we get to Varaždin, who we can, I think, just say sold Boršić, well, lost Boršić on a free, got Durakovic, pretty much it. Brought back
Yeah,
Posavets, uh, and signed what Uchegwu on loan from America.
they are the same,
Yeah, it's
pretty
literally the
much.
same squad.
Yeah, and I mean, I think at some point there's going to start being diminishing returns with
Yeah,
that squad, but it's again, they are such a cut above the Easters at this season that
yeah,
it's not. Then they're not going to be in that sort of discussion unless they have a really bad season. Obviously last season was the best season in their history, full
yeah.
stop.
Third place.
They've done well in Europe, from their first game, and if they're able to parlay that into a playoff position, then you talk about that being what, about 1.5 million
Yeah,
extra income.
which is
So
massive for them.
it's massive for them. It's a player or two
Yeah,
for them, and that might be what they're waiting for, um, to see is how to come through. They need they need players to carry on growing. You see Tavares, Lakovic, Moic, for them to stay where they are. I
yeah,
think it's probably important to say. Um, but their job is to stay where they are this season because we know Rijeka will be on it all season, which they
Yeah,
weren't last.
yeah. I think the main part, what Rijeka is, if Rijeka gets into Europe, I can see what is going to again challenging because unless Rijeka brings in more players, because they do need depth. This is still they haven't changed their depth size yet.
Hmm.
Especially if you lose Frug, then that's even you need you need two good players there. So they need to sort that out because the main thing why they didn't finish above others, why they weren't third, is Europe because they really went into Europe and it paid off.
Yeah, it did pay off, but like sort of say by the end of the season, Tony Crook was
Yeah,
a shambling corpse
yeah,
because of how much he was used. Um, like I say, I think yeah, we might be in the situation possibly where we're talking about it being roles completely reversed, and it's Varazine in the group stage,
yeah,
and that would be very difficult for them to bear with the squad that they've got.
yeah, yeah. They would
Um,
need to spend if they get into the conference league, then those few days of the transfer window left, they're gonna have to go ham
yeah.
if they want to have any kind of chance of being good on both ends
Mhm.
of trying to be respectable in Europe and trying to fight up for Europe again. But yeah, it's pretty much the same thing for both of them. Just if one of them doesn't get in Europe, you're totally fine in the high Hnl. You're challenging for top four, top three, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, pretty much just if you get into Europe, big payday, so you can afford to be fourth or to have that place at risk. But you'll have money, so if something goes awry, there's January.
Yeah.
So yeah, uh, Hajduk.
This is gonna feel like the first time where I actually shut up this episode, isn't it?
Well,
I'll kick back.
well, I let all of my frustrations out last time with Levi and everything. For now, it's sorted. Looks like he's actually trying and training now. He's actually running, so he's probably realized that like, hey, I'm probably not gonna play if I don't do this. Which, thank God, took you a bit. But yeah, obviously, Hajduk has started going into that part where they're trying to focus on playing without Livaya, which is absolutely crucial now.
Mhm.
He's turning 33. He's getting older. He's not getting any better. He's still good. He still has a world class quality on him. He's still one of the best players in the league. Not the best anymore. Fruk has probably taken that, and some other players like Stojkovic, Bello, the rest. But he's up there. So when he's on the pitch, he's probably the best player quality wise for Hajduk. But Hajduk has been doing perfectly fine without him. For last season when he wasn't playing, we were perfectly fine, especially for that first half of the season where Shego was firing on all fronts. Where the wingers where Bamba and the other wingers were also doing fine. So yeah, second part of the season, just collapse standard. Just couldn't finish our chances. I think we had the same number of big chances created as Dinamo last season, which tells you a lot about Garcia and his football. But we obviously weren't even close to Dinamo's conversion rate, and if we were, we would have done the title easily. Because but yeah, these players, as we've seen in these free matches, European matches, they cannot finish their dinner most of the time. But it's promising. It's it's absolutely promising. There is things to be optimistic about at the club.
Yeah, I think so. What was said about Lokomotiva probably applies to Hajduk as well,
Yeah,
in that we know what the weaknesses are, and they've hired to fix those weaknesses.
yeah,
Obviously, as you sort of indicated, with Levi, there has been other nonsense going on this summer, and I'm sure at some point this season it will rear its head
yeah.
again.
Back.
But if we're talking purely on the focus of what they've actually done, they needed right backs, They've brought
Signed
two.
up. Yeah,
They
they
look
bought
fine.
two.
Um, they've cut the wages in terms of who they've let go. Grunwich wasn't necessarily going to play as much, but so they're cutting those wages back in the midfield at a point where the players that they're letting go are actually players they weren't necessarily going to get that much value from going
Yeah,
forward. So they've done it at the right time. Um, they should be better in certain elements. Obviously, Bayezid was very last season, but
yeah,
in season two, you would expect him to be to kick on a little bit. Obviously, Delmar and Bruti as midfield reinforcements both look fine. Dallison has impressed already.
yeah,
There's a lot. I think there's a lot positive. I mean, obviously last season I did predict how it would win the title. There was reasons for that,
yeah.
as you
There,
know.
no, there were, but
The
very, very optimistic.
Yeah, I'm not this season. Um, as you know, but it's not because they're not a better side. They are a better side. But Dinamo last season
Yeah,
proved that the criticisms that could have been leveled at them 12 months ago had been fixed, and they haven't
yeah,
been unfixed this summer. So why would you predict against them? I think possibly what would have done had it really well is if they had Dinamo up really early. Purely from the perspective, I think, as we've seen against Thun, that Dinamo haven't necessarily gotten going yet, whereas Hajduk,
yeah,
in terms of the sides that they've beaten so far in Europe, clearly have hit the ground running. Um, but the doubt, the big doubt about Hajduk, the two big doubts about Hajduk is, one from a mental perspective, A, Levaya, B, actually, if you get close to winning the title, how do you cope with that mentally?
yeah.
It was collapse last season. It's been collapse.
It's been collapse
It's
for the
been
last
collapse after
five
collapse. Let's
seasons.
be honest.
Yeah, for the last five for the last 5 seasons, it's been collapse every spring.
Yeah, and then the second element is also how you sort of cope with that from a squad perspective
Yeah,
down the stretch as well.
yeah. Especially
Um,
since it's now a young squad. You have a lot of young players in the squad. We're probably gonna move on Pukstas and Sigur, most likely. Uh, Hopefully gonna hold on to Pukstas. I don't think Sigur is gonna play anytime soon again. Uh,
well, he's allowed to on Thursday because you had to have three
yeah,
weeks
yeah, yeah.
after.
He's allowed to. He took that break. Fans didn't approve of that, but I don't think he's gonna. If he's gonna play for us, it's gonna be off the bench for like 20 minutes because we have no other solution.
I think the World Cup break is the least of Infantino's sins at the minute.
Yeah,
Um,
don't let's not get into it.
yeah, no. I think it's also obviously we mentioned Bilic at the very top of this episode. This is a good season if you're a Hajduk player to impress because you will do your international chances a lot of good.
Yeah,
I expect Hirkovic to break into the national team this
I was about
season.
to say if anybody's got chances to be optimistic, it's him. Because if you have a good start here, if you have a good August, if Hajduk gets into Europe because one of your assists, or
Hmm.
just because you played a good pass up forward, done a good decent job defensively, you're getting called up. You're a young left back from the Croatian league. We have no left backs.
Yeah,
So it also depends on how Bilic wants to play Guardiol. I hope he wants to play him as a center back, which is looks like Maresca what also he wants to do, to play more centrally than Pep did and Dalic have. So hopefully that happens because I really do think we need actual left backs in the national team.
yes,
So yeah, I hope either Hrgovic or Bradaric get called up because at this point it's just important to have somebody who's natural in the position. I don't care at what level anymore.
yeah,
But yeah, back to Hajduk. Obviously got rid of Krovinovic, as you said, sold Durdov for 900k and some percentage of his next sale if he does well at Gornik. Got rid of Guillamon. Rebic obviously left, Charlia left, Kalik left. It's all players. Obviously, Rebic would have been nice to keep since we have no left wingers. Well, Šotićek is coming, so that's sorted. Unless something in the last second he decides to not sign the contract, which at this rate, well, the chances aren't that low. uh, but yeah, Van Horenbeek has been okay. Dallison, as you said, so far has impressed. A very, very good player. Del Moral, we have to see more of him, but I think a good pickup and a good, at the very least, a good rotation player. If, especially if we make it into Europe, we're gonna need him, and we still need a defensive midfielder. We still need that six. We need somebody who's gonna power through players, who's gonna keep our defense, who's gonna keep players from coming into our defense.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose probably there is the question, Jabba, in that regard. Obviously, he spent the last half season on loan at Redonnier.
Yeah,
But
he's not
in
the
terms of
same.
coming back from, he's still not the same. Fair enough.
He's not the same. He is not this. He's not even. It's not even like. It's not even the same player. It's not even close. Like
Yeah,
going like that short, very short period of time when he played for Hajduk healthy. Hajduk were the best team in the league. He gets injured, and we know what happens. There's other
yeah,
aspects too why that happened, but Rapper is like 50%. I think I would argue like 50% of why that downfall started.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I was purely asking that sort of because yeah, I mean, I'd sort of seen him a little in Slovenia, but not loads and loads.
yeah,
For
he is not
Redonnier,
the
but yeah,
same. I
that's
mean,
fair enough.
we're talking about like when he joined Hydro, he was the best in his position at that
Mm,
time, and now obviously ACL injury, not even the same. It's sadly it's just what happens in football.
yeah,
Could have been a very good player if he doesn't get injured. I suspect he would have gotten sold for 4 million, let's say,
mhm.
and made a career for himself outside. Yeah, but yeah, Hajduk is not at the level of Dinamo, but I think it's certainly above Rijeka and everybody else. But it's not that far from those two, from Rijeka and Varaždin. It's not it's not going to be the same gap as it was last season.
No, it's not at the top. No, yeah, I think Hajduk and Rijeka, I think I personally have them pretty even. Purely, yeah, I think we will get just natural improvement just from having Keck there, and having normality all season as
Yeah,
opposed to what happened last year at Ujevica. I do expect Hajduk to kick on. I think it's more that both will rise up. I think,
throughout the
but
season.
Rijeka have probably a little bit more improvement in them than Hajduk do. Um, just purely from the managerial aspect. But there's a big gap to get to Dynamo, and I
Yeah,
can't see them getting
no.
it this season.
Yeah, I just hope that if Dinamo gets Europe, everybody else doesn't. That at least you make a fight
Yeah,
until the last like 2 rounds. So do something. Be close.
and that's pretty fair. I think that's what we all, obviously we want a good title race, because
Yeah,
it's good for
obviously.
getting eyes on the game. Um, but I'm not sure we get it this season.
Yeah, no,
Obviously,
neither am I.
Dynamo were brilliant in terms of how they recruited last season. It's very rare you get a transfer window as hit after hit as it was last summer
Yeah,
for them, because it was even, the fringe players that he brought in, Topic,
yeah,
like who, we're like, why? And then comes in, okay, actually,
yeah. And last night
you've
was one of
improved a
the
lot.
yeah, and last night he was one of the better players. He was on every ball. Him,
Yeah,
Cachavenda, and Hoja, who aren't
yeah.
even the plans, are now all of a sudden probably gonna start on Friday against Slaven.
Yeah, and I think that's one very good thing that we're seeing from Kovacic in charge has been he's very, very flexible. If someone's not in
Yeah,
form,
yeah,
then you're out the side and the next person's in, and that's been a very refreshing thing to see. It's helped keep the team fresh,
yeah.
even when they're sort of in and out of form. Um, I don't necessarily look at what they've done this summer and think it's all hits, but
No, I mean Orsic needs time. He just needs playing time. He just needs to play.
yeah, he just needs to play. I mean, he was better at Paphos last season, and did you know earn the move back. Not that he
Yeah,
necessarily needed to, but you know what I mean.
yeah,
Um, Bilić is fine, but he's a big
If
lump.
Dominguez leaves, then yeah, it's a
Yeah,
nice backup
yeah,
to have.
it's a nice backup to have for the Hnl, but not necessarily for Europe. Obviously we mentioned Stojakovic and Previak, two really good options
Yeah,
to have, but they're entirely options around Belial.
yeah,
If you need to
and
change things up,
they'll also bring in the winter Junior Brumado from Midtjylland.
yes. And also obviously brought in Danny Rodriguez,
Yeah,
who is sort of like Olmo. Apparently bringing his brother in as well
yeah,
to help him settle.
and
So they must
they're
think a lot of him.
also yeah, and they're also trying to get Noah Soki from PSG. PSG
Mhm.
have rejected their first offer. Dynamo's trying to just get a good deal. PSG is holding on 1.5 and 20% of his future sale. So Dynamo is gonna make a new offer, probably have at this point. So yeah,
Yeah, and that's probably one that went in at about the second extra time finish last night. 'Cause,
probably the
and
second they conceded the second goal.
yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
we also gotta mention the Soldo, Villar, and Bakrar, Pierre Gabriel Varela, gone back to Porto. That was a whole story with Andy Barra and
Yeah,
him.
saying he fell asleep during training.
Yeah, and he was late to a lot of training sessions. He broke his apartment, broke like half of his apartment, which cost a ludicrous amount. I remember, and he's like, and I begged the Andy Barra said that he begged the apartment owner to not leak this, and then he leaks it after Varela isn't under his eye anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, then Varela essentially goes back to Porto, and it just looks like nah, it doesn't look good for Barra or for Dinamo.
No, but I mean, it's probably, by the sounds of it, quite well shot of him.
Yeah,
And at the end of the day, if you're bringing young players in, you're always going to run the risk that some don't adapt well, and he clearly hasn't.
yeah,
I think particularly from the aspect of, he comes in quite highly fated and, you get in your ego massaged quite a lot.
yeah,
At the end of the
especially
day,
by Barra.
if you're an 18-year-old, you're gonna be a bit of a dick about it,
Yeah.
probably.
Well,
Um,
he came in at 16. He's 17 now, I
yeah,
think. Not
well,
not even 18 now.
yeah, you're gonna be even less mature about it then.
Yeah,
Um, and I mean, they have one big position to fill in,
goalkeeper.
in goals. Yeah.
Yeah,
And if they don't, then, potentially that is an issue for them for this
yeah, but I
season.
think that
But they will.
they will they have the money.
Even if they don't get Livakovic, they're gonna get someone
Yeah,
not necessarily of that standard,
yeah,
but
you cannot get somebody of that standard.
someone who is a little bit better than Nevasic.
Yeah,
And even then, Nevasic will probably be a fine keeper if you just want to win the title.
yeah. If but I suspect it will want more.
Yes.
But yeah, yeah. Obviously, also lost on loan. Chalina has gone to Poland, and Cordoba has gone back to Colombia.
Mhm.
Uh, Cordoba really a question mark last season, and then all of a sudden appeared in a game, scored, and then again disappeared.
He's one of those players you sort of always did wonder whether he existed or not.
Yeah, and then he pops up, and you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah, oh, actually, he's quite good, and then disappears again.
and then disappears
Um,
again.
just from a betting odds perspective, just how likely do you think it is that Dinamo would not win the title?
Poof.
If you to put a number on it,
I put a number on it. Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't really bet that much. So what's I don't know what odds you use. We use decimals here.
I was basically brought up on a race course. I can use any.
Fair enough. But yeah, to win the title, probably like 1.3, 1.4.
So that translates to about 5 to 2 on for those using old money, and I
Yeah,
think that's pretty fair. So that would be saying 2 times out of every 7 that they wouldn't win the title. I think
Yeah,
that's pretty fair. And
especially at the start of the season where they still haven't sorted their squad out, so we still don't know who's gonna come in, who's not.
there's that, and I think, if you were to have that, 7 simulations, you would have Dynamo win 5 times, Hajduk win one, Rijeka win one, and that will probably be
Yeah,
about
probably
right.
realistic. Yeah, most realistic. Yeah. Yeah, and then not to win. Yeah, the opposite of that.
Yeah,
140.
yeah,
But yeah, it's at the end of the day, it really depends for me. I really do think either Rijeka or Hajduk. I hope, and I realistically think one of them is gonna make it into Europe. They're gonna scrape by one of them. Varaždin, I doubt it, especially because of the level of the playoff sides on the seeded side on the Conference League. I really doubt that Varaždin are gonna be able to cross that hurdle. But getting to the playoff for Varaždin is a massive achievement if they do. But Rijeka or Hajduk, I hope one of them gets a somewhat easy draw, a team that they can play against, and not like I forgot. Is it Chelsea that's in? For example, Chelsea. I think they're again in the Conference League.
it is entering in
No,
the
it's
playoff.
Brighton. It's Brighton.
Brighton.
It's
So
Brighton.
the horrible ones entering is Atalanta, Freiburg, Monaco, Brighton, Getafe.
Yeah, and Getafe is unseeded. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
So
very
yeah,
likely.
yeah. So yeah, and other sides that are gonna be in there after they probably win their ties, but there's gonna be a few shocks. It's the Conference League. There's gonna be one or two shocks. So if you can get one of those two shocks, like we had, for example, like 2 seasons ago when Noah beat Ajax and Hajduk were supposed to face them, but then Ružom Perok and
Yep.
Gattuso. But yeah, I just hope either Rijeka or Hajduk get a somewhat easy draw and get into Europe. And whoever gets into Europe, I predict to finish third. But right now, my predictions are Dinamo, Hajduk, Rijeka. It's tough to bet against Varaždin. It's really tough. But yeah, I'll go same top four, except Rijeka and Varaždin change places. So Varaždin fourth, fifth. I don't see Istra that good. I'll say Lokomotiva. Then because it's not that straightforward, because I suspect there's gonna be more movements. I'll say Lokomotiva, Istra, Gorica, Osijek, Slaven, and Rudeš.
You have Osijek 8th. That's very optimistic.
I'm just well optimistic. I'm just like I can put them ninth and join on the bandwagon, but I'll put them one up because we have a whole 9 months ahead of us. Well,
Yeah.
10 months.
So my other thing is, as you know, it's Dinamo, Hajduk, Rijeka, Lokomotiva, Varaždin, Slaven, Gorica, Istra, Osijek, Rudets.
Yeah.
So I think we're reasonably similar. I think there is sort of Lokomotiva and Varaždin feel pretty interchangeable. Slaven to Osijek probably are, from a qualitative perspective, quite interchangeable as well.
Yeah.
Just depending on how much
I'm
value
bet
you put in the
yeah, and
nonsense.
I'm also betting on Gorica and Carovic because I think he's a very good manager and he'll get something out of that squad.
Definitely, yeah.
And I think he'll get more out of it than Gregorina or somebody else. Well, depends on who Slaven brings in because I remember we predicted Slaven to be down. Then they had, I think Radelic was the manager for the first like month, and then they brought in Kovacevic, and obviously that prediction is gonna go down the drain because Kovacevic and Radelic could never manage the Hnl side before different levels as it showed that season.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it should be an exciting season.
I hope,
I
but
mean,
yeah, as I said, I really do hope that two teams, the second team makes it to Europe again because we, as you said previously, we need to build that coefficient.
well, I think it's possible 3
It's
this time.
I mean all four are possible, but
Yeah.
free is like I would give it like 25% of chance.
Yeah, which is a lot more. Usually by the end of July, let's be honest, there's been a side out by now.
Yeah, yeah.
That has. And if you sort of talking about three sides in the groups, then you can actually start thinking, right, okay,
We can
15th
be,
isn't
yeah,
on
we
this
can be
season,
there.
but it can be next season.
Yeah.
Because coefficient, it's the worst season is dropping off after the end of this season. So
Oh, they're changing it?
no, 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 no. So as in the worst season of the last 5 years is dropping off.
Oh, okay. For a second, I thought they were changing the rules, and I'm like,
No, no,
what?
no, no, no,
Where did I
no,
miss this?
no. So I've got it up in front of me. So it's a 6.0 that's dropped off for this season's one,
Yeah.
but then for what we're calculating for now, it's 3.375 that will
Oh,
drop off.
Jesus.
So it really just actually performing the same as they have done the last two seasons in terms of two sides in a group and reaching a knockout phase of a competition. Doesn't really matter
Yeah.
what at this point. You're actually talking about starting next season probably 3 points better off than you finished than you started this season, which is
Yeah.
enough that it's the sort of thing that will take you from around about 22nd to around about 16th, 17th.
Yeah.
And
That's a jump.
yeah,
Massive.
and that's when you are talking about getting second Champions League place. And
Again. And
yeah,
hopefully this time, a side like Lokomotiva doesn't get second place, get ransacked, and then have to play Champions League qualifiers.
well, I mean that it seems to be the way, doesn't it? I mean, I think we are pretty consistently each season now seeing a side get into that first stage of the league path, which is the second qualifying round,
Yeah.
and then knocked out, Europa League, knocked out, Conference League, knocked out.
Knocked out.
It's also known as the Partisan.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
this season, the Hearts. Um,
Yeah, except yeah. Say it's literally, well, not the same story as Lokomotiva because they were actually top for 90% of the season. But yeah, they got ransacked as well. Yeah, pretty much the high Hnl is here. Thankfully, no drama in the league because last season we had drama with Baric and I forgot the ref's name that was leaking. Torcida fan, like with the Torcida conversations on WhatsApp.
oh
Like
yeah,
he was giving them like information about the Bad Blue Boys and their like locations for their banners. That was a whole thing, and with Maric getting like brought back, and then Hajduk and Dinamo released a statement, and then magically both were disappeared. But nobody else spoke up, which last season, which surprised me the most. With only the big two sides, but Dosiek, who Maric made a fool of, oh, quiet.
yeah. I mean, I think the only two sort of, I mean, obviously Hawkeye in terms of changing that
Yeah. Oh yeah.
technology from a VR
We
perspective.
yeah. Also, Heinel has brought in some rules from the World Cup.
Yeah, I think pretty much all leagues have brought in. I will say, I mean, sort of like the goalkeeper rule, I'm not that keen on. Um, Purely from a perspective that I think sort of as we saw it tactically through the World Cup, it basically forced sides to play out from the back,
Yeah.
and I'd like having variety. And then you also end up with stupid things like how Velez got knocked out. No, how Velez conceded their goal last week, if you saw it against
I did
that.
not see it.
Taking a quick goal kick, goalkeeper was just trying to not kick it to the defender for him to take the goal kick, but the keeper actually planted it down on the pitch and kicked it. Defender just picked it up, penalty. Uh,
Yeah, I did see it.
I think did you have the same? What was Hamrun Spartans had
Yeah,
something similar
yeah. They had
in
this. It was the player. So it was like he was trying to get a cross in, went to ground to try and keep it in by
yeah,
sliding, kept it in. No call was made, and the player just picked it up.
yeah. So I mean, that's possibly just an adaptation to the rules that players need to make. But
Yeah,
like I say, I'm just not a fan of it. I get the point of it is to speed the game up, but it actually
yeah,
slows the game down because it means that you're actually going to have, conversely, less pressing.
Yeah,
But hey ho.
there you go. But yeah, interesting season ahead again.
Hopefully.
But yeah, hopefully, and hopefully, as I said, we hopefully Haidu can finally break the curse of Europe and get into a European competition and actually make some money and
Yes,
be
that'd be nice.
attractive to players.
Cue drawing Brighton.
I would, or drawing
You would,
somebody, or draw like a side that beat a seeded side in the third round and then losing to them like in extra time or on penalties.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, uh, fun on 2 hour talk. God damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had prepared Mrs. Wilson that I would be long today,
Yeah.
so I'm not getting told off. I'm not also not looking at my phone. Those two things are unrelated, but
Turn off your phone. Just
yeah. Turn it over. Don't look right because it's a glass door.
yeah. Just for the next, just sleep there.
I know. I was just this morning. I'm like, oh, did you know there's a new series of this on? You can watch it tonight.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, new series of the Hnl starts on Friday. So tomorrow when this drops, uh, Dynamo Slaven. Gonna be an entertaining match. Dynamo is probably gonna rotate heavily
Mhm.
because one Kovacic probably doesn't like half of the starters now after the last night. And Kachavenda and Topic have and Hoja have shown that they can absolutely do some good to this side, and they're high now level. And I want to see Kachavenda actually perform after not playing at last season.
No, but those reasons that's very good.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, uh, thank you for listening and or watching or whatever you're watching on or listening on, and have a good day. And hopefully today, this night when this drops, we have 3 teams in the third qualifying round.
4.
Well, 4. Well, 3
Yeah.
and other than Dynamo.
Other than Demo.
We don't even need to talk about Europe. We're talking Europe. It's just
True.
the 3 sides. But yeah, see you guys probably in like 2 weeks' time.
Bye bye.